welcome back. We're talking to Helene Segar, and we're talking about her book, The Inefficiency Assassin. And we're going to be talking about procrastination. Why does it happen, and what can we do? So, welcome back, Helene.
Thank you, CJ.
So, I wanted to. What are the typical excuses for procrastination when you talk to clients and they're like, "Hey, did you get that thing done?" They're like, "Well, no." Like, what are the typical reasons why they don't?
Actually, reason number one is I don't know. They don't have a true reason.
Right.
But when we start digging in, they start to assess and say, okay, it's because I just didn't want to. Or for some of my clients, it's because their perfectionistic tendencies were setting in and they were afraid that if they finished, it wouldn't be perfect. So they just
Mm,
kept putting it off and putting it off. And then
mm.
some others just didn't want to work on the projects because they weren't sure how to do it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I find with coaching is they don't know how to, they don't want to. At some level, they're not there's some kind of blockage that's happening, or you're saying
Right.
they're perfectionists. So, so that's kind of the root cause of all of this, right? They're not motivated, or they don't like they have something that's telling them that what they're doing is not enough. So they keep on trying to make it
Exactly.
perfect versus like what you're saying in
Hmm.
your in the earlier segment we're talking about responding to a business plan. You're like, okay, I'm researching for 15 minutes. Like that's it. Like I know I could research for an
Hmm.
hour and 15, but I'm going to give myself 15 minutes, which I think is brilliant, by the way, to
Right.
do. Um, so how do you know? And this is always hard. How do you know if you're procrastinating or that you actually need a break? And so it's not a procrastination. Like sometimes, like people will work on something. Like okay, when I mean people, I mean me. Sometimes I may be working on some typing on something. I'm like writing an article, and then I
Hmm.
thought I just need a break. Like I just need a mental break from doing this. And I'll go over to Facebook and I'll look at
Hmm.
Facebook or I'll read email. It's just something to change my mind so it kind of gets a little bit of break. Is that how do I know if I'm
Right.
procrastinating or actually need to take a break?
If you are taking a break every 5 minutes, then chances are you are procrastinating. But if you decide that you do need a break, and then you tell yourself when you're going to come back to what you're working on, maybe it's 15 minutes later, or maybe it's the next day. If you're being intentional about when you're coming back to it, then you're not procrastinating. You're just simply taking a break.
Okay, so it's almost how often I take how often am I? Oh, okay, every 5 minutes. I mean, is there a healthy? I've always read like I actually have this little monitor, and it says it actually gives me
Uh-huh.
little red dashes, so you can see I haven't done a great. I did a great job, and then didn't do so well. I sat on my can for like 2 hours, taking a phone call.
Right.
Yeah, so like and when
Hmm.
I went according to this, you're supposed to move around for every hour because you're getting the blood
Yeah.
flowing. It's not good for your body. Do you have
Hmm.
any thoughts on how often you should be taking a break?
According to both neurologists and also cardiologists, you are supposed to take at least a 5 minute break each hour. Cardiologists say that it'll get the blood flowing so that way you don't have circulation problems. And then neurologists and neuroscientists will tell you your brain needs that break. But again, we're human, we're all individual, and our bodies are different. So some people might truly be able to work for an hour or 2 hours straight, and they're perfectly fine. The problem comes in when you're sitting there for 3, 4, 8 hours and you're in the same chair the entire time. That's when you start having both the productivity issues with your brain as well as physical issues.
Right. So it's actually important. I don't even know how someone sits for 8 hours. I don't even know if I'm physically capable of doing that. That means they're not drinking any water or going to the bathroom. Right? I mean,
Exactly, and that's not a good thing.
no, it's not. Okay, so what kind of break are you supposed to take? So if you're supposed to take a break during those time intervals for your brain and your body, um, what are you supposed to be doing on those breaks? And how do you not? And so I think I have one of the answers. You're going to say because you set a time limit on yourself. But what are you supposed to be doing
Right.
on those breaks? But how do you not go berserk on them on those breaks?
It depends if you want to take a for funsies break or if you'd like to take a procrastinate productively break. If you want to do something that's fun, maybe that's when you jump on Facebook for 15 minutes, or you go hog wild on Pinterest,
Right.
or you go, if you work from home, you go outside and play with the dogs. You just do something that's fun versus procrastinating productively as a break. You might work on a grocery list. If social media is a part of your business, you might be intentional about this particular social media and you're scheduling what posts you want to have out there marketing your business.
Right.
So it depends on how you would like to use that time.
Right.
And I think you have to flip-flop back and forth. There's no way that you can go an 8-hour workday without having some kind of fun. I mean, you need a break in there somewhere.
Right. Right. So don't get too hard on yourself if you're taking breaks too, which, if you're not like a laser focus the entire time, one, we're not built for doing that. And two, we're not even going to be as productive if we do continue doing that, right? Like if we sit through 8 hours working, you feel like, oh, I'm being so productive, but probably not so much. That's what I'm hearing.
You're exactly right. And
Okay.
those neuroscience studies will show that because the brain starts maxing out at 60 to 90 minutes
Yeah.
at one time. So when you're going over that 90 minutes, chances are whatever you're doing after that is not nearly as efficient as the first 90 minutes you were spending on it. So when you have an 8-hour day, if you were actually working all 8 hours, you might be productive for perhaps 5 to 6 hours of that time. So since you weren't productive the entire time anyway, why not take a break and have some enjoyment throughout the day
Right.
and still be productive?
And I love the idea of just having fun too, like going playing with the dog or going over and walking out in the sun or just stretching your legs or doing a yoga move or whatever. So one of the things I thought when I was reading that is I thought, well, you know what I really need is I need to have one of those clocks that just chimes every hour so that I'm like, okay, just get up. Like whatever you're doing, get up. But what are some tips that you have for people who either want to procrastinate productively or want to have those built-in breaks or that are procrastinators? What are some tips?
We actually attempt to determine how long their attention spans are. Because some of my clients who have ADD and ADHD, we might start off with a 7-minute attention span. That doesn't sound very long, but if you actually focus for 7 minutes and you do it multiple times per hour, you can get a lot more done than just spinning around at random. So we set their timers according to how long their attention spans are. It might be 7 minutes, it might be 15, it might be 30, and then that's when they take their breaks. Now, if they're feeling really good about themselves, they can reset their timers and go for another 7 minutes of work. But if they feel that their brain is starting to slow down, they're starting to get distracted and look off into outer space, then they know it's definitely break time.
Are you noticing any trends, because now it seems like in general we're in a distracted state. You have people who are crossing the road and like on their emails. And myself included. I'm not being critical because I'm sometimes one of those people. But we're always in a distracted state. Do you feel like on average is our attention span shrinking?
I believe it is. I have no scientific proof of this, but when you start looking at how long YouTube videos are, it used to be that you could have an 8-minute YouTube video, and then people started making them 5 minutes because nobody was watching 8 minutes. And now, supposedly, the perfect length of a YouTube video is 2 to 3 minutes because nobody will watch for 5. So it's almost like based on the social media and the electronics that we have out there, we're being conditioned to pay attention for shorter and shorter periods of time.
Yeah.
If you look at Facebook, you can post however long you want. And then Twitter came along and, you only need 140 characters. You don't need much of an attention span to get across that point.
Right.
So I just see our attention spans shrinking. Even when I speak, I know that I have to have shorter stories and I have to change activities when I'm doing a training because their attention spans just aren't there. Nobody can sit in a 60-minute lecture anymore. That's just not possible.
That's kind of sad. So with your ADD clients or clients I just general clients where they have like a 2 or 3 minute attention span, and 7 minutes then sounds luxurious. Like, how do you get them? Do you
Hmm.
try to like a workout where you're getting them to do more reps? Like, you try to do 2 minutes and then like, let's try 3 minutes, let's try 4 minutes. Is there a, I can't remember what that's called in psychology, where you just kind of break them into this? Do you try to do that with your clients?
Yes, I have them do it for a week or two at a time because I want them to feel successful, and I want them to get used to understanding what 2 or 3 minutes feels like. A lot of folks with time management challenges don't have a concept of the passage of time, so they don't understand how long 2 minutes feels like or what 10 minutes feels like. So part of this is also training them to see, oh, okay, this is what 2 minutes feels like. This is how much I can get done in 2 minutes, which then helps with estimating your time blocks later on.
Wow, interesting. Okay. All right, good. So we talked about procrastination and we talked about some tips. So some tips are, tell us some more tips. I think we've got some, but we haven't gotten to all of them. Are there any other tips that you'd offer for procrastination?
If you're trying to avoid procrastination, then I highly recommend you complete your least favorite tasks first thing in the morning. Just get the misery over with, because when we save them until the afternoon, we
Yes.
tend to put them off again and just say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. So
Right.
just get that over with first thing in the morning. You can also decide when you finish that task that you really dislike, decide ahead of time what your break is going to be. If you're addicted to social media, maybe your break is going to be, oh, I get to play on social media for 30 minutes after I finish this terrible task that I don't want to do.
Right.
So you wave that carrot in front of yourself, so you'll be less likely to procrastinate on that task.
Yeah. I have that with taxes, because doing taxes is awful. Like, to me, that's just the most painful thing. So I try to do little breaks and try to do, and then sometimes I'm like, just get it over with. And I just sit there until I try to finish it.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.